This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it through a variety of methods, times, people, places, things, experiences. But at its heart and at its core, it is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and the Auburn family. Since it's about family, we've got to get those members of that family here. I am your host, Kyle Loomis. Alongside me, as always, my good friend and yours, Austin Scott. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Welcome back to you, War Eagle. Hope you have had a good week. I know you've had a good week because you've been on the plains some. So hope you enjoyed your trip as usual.
It was a glorious trip, as it always is. It was a little bit of a taste of what I'm about to experience in a few short weeks for 5 straight weeks of being in the plains when it's blazing hot. And boy, was it hot this weekend.
Yes.
But it's still great to be in Auburn whenever you get the opportunity. So, yes, I enjoyed it. I know you as a resident got to enjoy it as well. We got plenty of things to talk about from this weekend. There weren't a lot of small things to talk about, but lots of big things that were happening in various sports experiences. I mean, Austin, we are just move-in day has already happened, I believe, for campus.
I think
weird.
a lot is rush is going on. I think the early move-in has happened for sororities. That's kind of what I was going to get to. This weekend was a taste of when things get really busy and it's getting full again. And yeah. I think as a resident, we're going to continue to evolve in that the next couple of weeks when kids are getting here and school's getting started. And then once football starts, it really feels like things are gung-ho. So it was definitely a taste, but everybody's coming back slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely. Speaking of football getting started, obviously practice has been underway for a while now. But what everybody's been waiting for was the first official scrimmage. Now, Hugh Freeze, to start off this week, had talked about maybe they were going to scrimmage when they went in the stadium for the first time. Maybe they wouldn't. And it actually ended up being that I was able to attend the practice, and I got to talk about a little bit about that in a live stream reaction. If you guys would like my full thoughts on all that in much more detail, please go check that out. But I did want to give us an opportunity. Maybe I know Austin wasn't able to be there, but if you've heard the things, you've heard the discussions about what did and didn't happen there, what's your takeaways, Austin, from the first scrimmage of fall practice?
Yeah. I got to see a little bit of it. And I thought that there was a lot that was pretty vanilla. It looked like, I don't think that you're ever, it doesn't matter who you are or what coach is in the country, when there's an open practice like that. I know there was the big sign, no photos and videos, but I think you're going to see not a whole lot of specifics, just with the nature of how information can spread these days. So I think, with that said, that there were some good things and some things that I'm sure are going to make people panic a little more than they should every now and then. Heaven forbid, right? But
Heaven forbid.
It sounds like the receivers stole the show again.
Yep.
I think people were surprised to hear Bryce Kane and Malcolm Simmons mentioned a little bit more instead of Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson. Now, those two were mentioned plenty and had their own shines throughout the day. But I think you're seeing that this receiving class is at a whole is a lot more talented than we even give them credit for. And so now, hey, it has to translate. It has to translate on the field against other opponents, against other people who've played college football a lot longer than these guys. But there's certainly a lot to be excited for. I think something we talk about this usually with A-Day too. Offensive line, defensive line, was one really good? Was one really bad? I think that those are still kind of question marks for me. But overall, I wouldn't read too much into this, just like I wouldn't read too much into A-Day. It is a fan event, and it is a scrimmage nonetheless. Yep. So,
and while it was closed to the public, people who were part of, I believe, On to Victory, other organizations were allowed to attend this event. So That's why there was a big emphasis on no pictures, no video. Obviously, as part of the media, we weren't able to do that as well. But my biggest takeaways is just kind of a summary. If again, go check the live stream out. Receivers like Malcolm Simmons stood out in a big way, 2 touchdowns for him.
Yes.
The defense threw a lot at the offense, and it showed. And I don't mean that as necessarily like a bad thing either way. Just the defense looked like they were ready to come out and kind of show some stuff. And then
Right.
I think, as a whole, it's pretty obvious, as we've been trying to tell everybody, the quarterback situation. Although the backup battle, I think, is continuing to get a little bit more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see how it shakes out. But one scrimmage down, plenty more to go. Still plenty of fall practice out there to talk about. I want to switch gears a little bit on sports and talk about basketball, because even before we got to this weekend with all that exciting stuff, there was a big, big piece of news that started our week off. And that was another piece of what is an amazing non-conference schedule for Auburn basketball. We are talking, of course, about Auburn going back to Holiday Hoopsgiving in Atlanta. I'm so happy about this, by the way,
I bet
personally.
you are.
Listen, look, you and I even tried to say a couple episodes ago, it sounds like we're not going to get that game anymore the way this is shaking out, because surely Bruce Pearl doesn't want to add any more challenges to this already very difficult schedule. But boy, were we wrong. We're going to Holiday Hoopsgiving again, 5 years in a row that the Tigers have been there, playing Ohio State. Now, most of you are going to be like, well, this isn't football. What do you matter? Ohio State's not been irrelevant
That's
in
right.
recent times. It's going to be not an easy matchup. So I'm excited. I don't know if I can convince you to come up my way and come to State Farm Arena, but this is a good matchup.
Yeah, I would love to. That's been an easy trip for us in the past. There's so many great non-conference games. I'm gonna have to decide here and there if which ones are doable, which ones are affordable for one.
Right.
But that's a great. Auburn in Atlanta is it's becoming more like that Nashville thing. There's a huge alumni base. It's very close to Auburn, and it's just easy to get to. And obviously, if they're been invited 5 years in a row, who puts on Holiday Hoopsgiving? Is it State Farm?
That's a good question.
I don't
That's
remember.
probably something we
Obviously,
should know.
the leaders in it are pretty happy with the turnout from Auburn each time. So I think that it'll be another good crowd for Auburn. And I like the matchup. I think that's different. That's something that Auburn fans aren't used to. We've gotten that a bunch with this Holiday Hoopsgiving thing.
Yep.
I think it was Nebraska, Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
Indiana. Yep. That's a good one.
I can't remember the very first one.
Here's what I'll say about all the different ones, even though we're blanking on a few of them right now. They've either been powers of the past and maybe not at that time we played them as good, or
Yeah.
they were just a big name like Indiana. So whether they are currently good or not, usually there is power in the matchup outside of just Auburn being there. But as you said, they know that Auburn people show out at this event. In fact,
Right.
I've been there sometimes. There's nobody left once the Auburn game's over because it was
It's
all
not
Auburn fans.
it's not Rutgers, is it? Why am I
Yeah,
thinking
we didn't
Rutgers?
play Rutgers. I don't know
No,
why you got Rutgers on the brain.
it's red. I'm just thinking there's been a lot of red. I don't
Too much
know.
red.
Someone will remind us, I'm sure. But I like their different matchups. They do a good job putting those together. So
They
I'm
do.
glad Auburn's back in that one.
Back in it again in the ATL, Holiday Hoopsgiving. It can't get any better than that, at least for that time of the year as football starts to wind down too. I want to talk about football stuff again, but let's keep it in the virtual world. And we are talking about something
Oh,
that
thank
Auburn
goodness.
Tiger fan. Look, he's already ready to
Thank
talk about
goodness.
it. Auburn Tiger fans were clamoring, hoping, wishing that there was going to be an update to College Football 25, because while they love seeing their team represented in the pregame, in the game, there was a big gripe. It was the look of what was supposed to be an eagle in the game. Now, we have a video that we put out comparing on our YouTube channel. If you guys would like to see that, we've got some clips showing of it
Look
right
at
now
this.
for you on the
Yeah.
video portion of the show. You can see the original version. You can see the comparison and the new one all in that video. I would encourage you to go check it out, but enjoy the clips right now too. Austin, it looks good. I'm just going to say that.
Yes.
For a video game, it was a much
Oh,
more.
yeah.
Look
Look
at
at
that right
this.
there. Look at that. It's
I
almost.
mean, that is a lot better. Look, I brought this up when we first talked about the game coming out and how I'm not the zoo expert. I'm not the bird expert. That I defer to you in these situations, but that looked a little pigeony. It looked a little falcony to me.
Right.
And I've been near that bird. I have a slight fear of birds. And so to see, I was like, look, that doesn't do it justice. That is a much bigger bird than they're giving credit for. And it looks like they fixed it.
It is a Beautiful fix for this game. It is much needed. It was a bit of a jolt when I saw it for the first time. I was like, "That's
Mhm.
not an eagle size. That is
No.
it's barely a hawk size." For and it
Right.
depends on what species of hawk. Yes, I'm bringing out my
Oh
zoology
boy.
degree,
Oh
folks.
boy.
Much more accurate as someone who has held a golden eagle, not ours, but a golden eagle on my hand.
Oh
I can
my
tell you
goodness,
that
that
they would.
terrifies me.
Who are you kidding? I
I
mean,
I do not do birds.
you do not know fear until you are inches away
Oh,
from a
oh,
golden eagle just
I'm
staring
getting
at you.
chill.
It's cool though. I'm not gonna lie. But in the
Mm.
game, it is fixed. In the game, we are looking more and more legit. That is a great fix by EA Sports, and I'm so happy that they finally got around to doing that. As maybe like a final big story in potpourri, we'd like to spice things up a little bit and give you some non-sports related things, but it's tertiary to sports. The band is going through their, and they may already be done, their tryouts, their rehearsals, and things like that. But one of the annual traditions every year is in the amphitheater that is behind essentially the power plant, Parker Hall, that
Right,
wooded area that you can see behind the baseball field. uh, they have a rehearsal every year, and I don't know that they ever promote it big time, but
right.
boy, does it draw a crowd in. I was lucky enough to catch it. I wasn't able to stay for it, but see the crowd that assembled. Clint Richardson on our social media was able to get us a video, and we shared that out. So many of y'all have already seen that, but Austin, I know there's too many things for you to attend in town, but this is one of those moments that I'm jealous of you as a resident to even have the opportunity
Yeah.
to, go see that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's something when it came up and I saw Clint's post, our post, that is something that I told Emily. I said, we do this every year. We forget about this is happening because, like you said, it's not really advertised. Not that I don't think they really intend for it to be, but it's kind of become one of these native things that the Auburn family rallies around. It's one of those signs that football is coming, signs that the semester is coming, and Emily and I talked and said, we have to make sure that we do this next year. We have to make sure we figure out ahead of time. We think the boys would love it. And I mean, the crowd was it's getting bigger and bigger. And it's very cool. That is the fight song, the alma mater. It's one of those special little Auburn moments that might get your eyes a little dusty.
Just a little misty in here.
Just a little misty.
I'm good, but don't start because then War Eagle Productions is going to come out with some video at homecoming that I'm already preparing myself for. It's going to make me cry. So we don't need this to start now. Let's keep it together. As a final roundup on Auburn Potpourri, there's plenty of things I'm sure we've missed, but things that we want to make you aware of. Auburn soccer is back in action. I got a chance to see them in action in their preseason at the Auburn Soccer Complex this past weekend. So be looking. We'll discuss them some more here. And then finally, we did have another commitment. Wayne Henry out of St. Francis Academy DB in 2026. We've got some content available on our YouTube channel about him if you'd like the discussion. So we had plenty to discuss in Auburn Potpourri and so much more now that we've got to start talking about because we are looking ahead to this season for football 2024. We are mere 3 weeks away,
Oh
under
my
3 weeks
goodness. Yeah,
away.
that's
Awesome.
unbelievable.
Just let that sink in. You and I have been talking about for episodes and episodes, weeks and weeks about everybody. Hold on. We're almost there. We're literally almost there, Austin. But
We it,
it's going to still be long.
It is coming quickly, and once it gets here, it'll fly. It
It
will fly by. We know that. We say that every single year, but we are coming up on it, and it's hard to believe that. Yeah, Kyle. I mean, just speaking from college football as a whole, it's less than 2 weeks. We'll have just games on the television. Well, I mean, it's not the same. I recognize that it's not the same, but that is like an even signal that it's coming even closer.
right.
And so I can't believe it. I really can't believe we're this close. It still doesn't really feel it yet. But I love that even more. It doesn't make me have to wait quite as long.
Well, the wait is not going to be so long because right now we're going to get you geared up for it. Let's do a first half of the season preview. Now, folks, I know a lot of you have already been clamoring, wanting me to do my final predictions, scores, wins, losses, all that stuff. Hold your horses. That's not this. We're just talking high level stuff, okay? We want to just walk through this week, the first half of the season. So, if you want a reminder of what that season will look like, we're going to pull up some stuff for you to be able to see here on the screen for the schedule. You'll see right there, starting off with the Alabama A&M game, then Cal, New Mexico, not New Mexico State, Alabama fans. I'm going to just start saying Lambo every time they say that. Arkansas, Oklahoma. That's your first 5 games in a row at home. And then finally, we go on the road in the first half of the season to our first road game. Think about that, at Georgia.
Crazy.
So that's a high level look right there about what to expect. Let's take some time, Austin, and walk through it a little bit. Your season starts on August 31st, and we are talking about Alabama A&M. Is there any doubt in your mind that the Tigers are walking out of here with a win?
No, I think there'll be some things to work through. It's the first
Right.
game; everybody has those. But I think Auburn and Alabama A&M will have a pretty good game. It's kickoff on the Plains. That there's so much more, and I don't mean this in a bad way. There's so much more about the first game than just the game. Yeah,
Right.
it is a special day, and so kickoff on the Plains will be a fun one. I'm glad it's an in-state school. Not everybody likes to play their in-state schools. Don't forget that.
Yeah, certain schools over on the western side of Alabama, they struggle finding time to, play in state schools. It's almost like they're afraid or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Could be possibly.
could be.
Um, Alabama A&M, like I said, this is not really a prediction show, but we say, look, folks, we all recognize we're favored to win that heavily. We're going to win that. This is more about getting back together as a family, being back on campus, enjoying that. I expect a sellout crowd just because it's the first game back.
Right.
And here's the important thing, folks. 5 straight games at home in this heat that we're having. This one's a night game. So
Oh
come
yeah.
enjoy this one. 6:30 is kickoff. Make sure if you can come to the night games because not only will you get to tailgate all day, but you'll actually have some relief when you get up there eventually, unless you're on the east side of the stadium. I think that's the side that has the sun the
You might have
longest.
you might have to wait a little while.
Although you will have one of the prettiest sunsets if the
You will
weather is nice in all of Auburn.
get your pictures ready. Yep.
I was looking at a picture I had in our archives yesterday, Austin. I was like, you know what? I remember how much I got roasted for that game,
Yeah.
but that picture was well worth it. So good and bad, but there's the first game for you. Just keep that in mind. We understand we're probably going to win. It's just one of those things. All right, next game up's got a big interest piece. We're talking about Cal,
Does.
the return of our trip that we took to them. That will be a 2:30 kickoff Central Time. And I think we had hoped maybe when we scheduled this that Cal would be a little bit more of a legitimate force, but it's still a Power 5 ACC.
I,
Explain that
I
to me.
don't. I can't. Don't get me started.
Game against the SEC. This will be fun just to have that return trip, a very dynamic, interesting, sometimes frustrating game. Last year, we did get the win. Other cool storylines. Our current wide receiver, Sam Jackson, was their quarterback that nearly beat us last year
Yes.
or helped beat us, almost beat us last year. Are you still excited for this, Austin? Like, is it, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely am. It's a non-conference game that we don't see very often. It's a matchup that we're not going to see very often. That's kind of been the trend with these last few years and future scheduling years.
Yep.
So I'm excited about it. I'm glad they're coming here. I'm going to be cheesy and say I love when other people and other fan bases who are not familiar with Auburn get to experience the hospitality of Auburn, get to experience the town,
Yep.
what it's about. So I'm hopeful that happens. I'm hopeful a good bit of them come. That we certainly sent a lot of people there last year, so I'm really looking forward to it. You know what? I have to be honest too. I'm pretty excited that while we got the full experience and taste, like 11 o'clock this time. I think it was nine. I think it was probably 11 o'clock your time, wasn't it? Like 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Austin, and this is a little inside softball. I have no idea what was going on that evening for a reason that you know about.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, fair enough.
so what happened that evening? I was trying my best to keep up with it, but
Fair enough. It was late. Let me tell you that it was late, and so for them to get to experience 2:30 in Alabama in September, I think it's only fair. Truly,
yeah,
I think it's only fair.
it's only fair. I personally wish it was a night game because
I know.
I want to
I did,
live.
I know.
It's gonna be hot, y'all. It's gonna be hot if we haven't said that already. All right, game 3. We're moving ahead to another opponent that Auburn should beat. we're talking Alabama fans, just chill. I can already feel them getting revved up. Just chill. Lamo. Just remember Lamo. New Mexico, not New Mexico State, is the next game. That is a night game, 6:30, homecoming. So here's what I love so far, Austin. Even with some of the games not being so exciting, the first and the third, namely, because we should beat New Mexico. I know I can just feel the Alabama fans getting so excited by us mentioning that. You've got the excitement of the first game. You've got the return Cal game, and now you've got homecoming
Mhm.
with this game. That means a parade. That means the homecoming court. All the festivities
The
around that.
floats.
The floats. We'll plan to
Come
do a
on.
video again
Yes.
of all of that this year. We'll let you guys be the judge and all that. How the fraternities, sororities, organizations do on that. But another opportunity for you to celebrate another thing in the Auburn experience. I'm excited for it. I know Austin doesn't cry as readily as I do at the homecoming video. Well, I mean, maybe you have. I don't know. I don't want to take that a bit
Oh,
of
look,
emotional height
I
from you.
I don't know if anyone can top you on that, so I'll leave it at that. But I look, the homecoming special. We will have a very emotional moment on that episode the day after. So be sure to tune in for that. We'll probably have the video playing and see if we can get a cry cam strictly on Kyle while
No,
we rewatch it.
you can't do
Uh,
that to me. You can't.
but
You
I love
can't.
homecoming. The floats are my favorite part.
Yeah.
We walk by on the concourse to make sure we see the floats. That might be Brooks and Barrett's first game of the year this year.
Oh,
So we're hoping to be all about homecoming. It's special, the parade, all the things. That's another thing. It's bigger than the game. And yes, I know the game will have to happen. Yes, we need to beat a team from the state of New Mexico.
yeah.
So but that's a good one. I'm excited that's at night. I feel like we don't get many homecoming games at night, and so
Right.
I think that'll be fun. To crown a queen at night, that's kind of
Yep.
cool.
All right, so the next game on the schedule is actually the first SEC game. Arkansas comes to town. Probably one that you want to start with, to be honest with you, based on what the perceptions are of the team. Now, the time is not set; it is listed as a flex, which can rotate, I believe, anywhere from 2:30 to 7:30.
So weird.
Yeah, they lied to us when they told us we were going to get the actual
Yeah,
schedule.
it was a whole. Okay, you can go back and find my rant about that. I don't need to
Yeah,
do that
don't do
again.
it again. Don't get you fired up again. But a flex option for you there in the first SEC game, the fourth one in a row at home. Again, if you're worried about the energy ebbing at some point with these 5 straight home games, there's a reason with each of these games as we laid out to get excited. The first SEC game, it'll be your first real test of like stronger talent. No offense, Cal, anybody else, but it is the SEC. It just means more. I said the tagline.
Oh,
You know,
there we go.
I
Cha-ching.
I just ching. So that will be a good thing there for the Tigers. Hopefully, we are talking about 4-0 at this point. I think a lot of Auburn people, a lot of outside people expect that. Not a prediction show, but I mean, am I saying anything that's out of order?
No, I think that's there's a lot of questions around Arkansas this year. So I think Sam Pittman, who I personally like as a personality in the SEC, I think he's probably feeling the heat.
Yeah.
And I think that will be one where Auburn tries to make sure the heat's turned up on him. Um, Arkansas is SEC West. I know we don't have that anymore. Opponent that we're very familiar with. I'm glad that it's at home. I hope that after hopefully a 3-0 start, that maybe Auburn gets that a night SEC game. Oh boy, that'd be a lot of fun.
Two home games that are night games in a row will be really, really fun because just that'll be great for the city with tailgate and all that stuff. So we'll hope for that.
Is
Hopefully.
so, and I'm sorry, I'm going back this, and we probably talked about this already. When do they make that designation of
I
afternoon or evening?
believe they still have that 2-week
Two
window.
weeks.
I
Okay,
could be wrong,
I
but
think you're right. I think you're right.
it
But
sounds
because
right.
basically we're like nothing's changed. But I think you're right.
We just know the windows. That's all.
Yeah, we just
That
know. Oh, you got a chance, but we're still gonna make you wait.
Speaking of which, let's move to the next game. Oklahoma comes to town for the very
Should
first time. This is the big game of the season,
should
probably.
should be a
Just
night game.
should be a night game, but it's not.
We all know why. It's fine. It's
It's fine.
fine. It's fine.
However, I think Auburn and Oklahoma will be that prime time, not prime
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
excuse me, the midday, the afternoon kickoff
The
time
premier game. Yeah.
of the afternoon. Yes.
Yep.
The other one's happening that night, and That's why we're not getting College Game Day for this. So I'm not bitter.
True,
I'm just
true.
understanding. This is huge. A lot of people are excited about this. I'm hearing a lot from Oklahoma fans that have come on some of our streams here on other social media platforms that we do, that they're excited for it as well. We've been given tips about what they should do, experience. We may even do a show around that before that game happens. So you guys think of things that you would want to recommend to the Oklahoma fans amongst the plethora of things that you could in the Auburn experience. But that one, we are just, I'm over the moon for it, Austin, to be
Oh
honest with
yeah, it's the big one, right? It's the one everyone, you're not seeing many people sell those this for the season already, and so I
you,
think
unless you
that
want to make money.
unless you want to make money, I think that it's going to be, um, like I mentioned with Cal, that one that we're not used to. We will get used to it, right,
Right.
over the next several years, well, or indefinitely. But I think that that's one that a lot of people are going to be excited to see. But once a game kicks off, it's going to be all right. You're a SEC opponent like anybody else.
Right.
I'm really excited for it. It's kind of the fact that Oklahoma gets to come and experience Auburn in their first year. It excites me, and I love that it. The only thing I wish I could change is the night, and so. But an afternoon. I'm hoping we get a little late September weather in
Oh,
that
yeah.
afternoon slot, and we all could be feeling really good.
If we somehow pull off one of those rare
It-
September cool downs
It's not
for
out of
this
the
game,
it's not out of the question.
it's not. But if that happens, Austin, what a end cap to the
Game
home
on.
fan. Game on. Oklahoma doesn't stand a chance if the weather is nice. I mean, probably it would favor us if it was hot. I know it gets hot in Oklahoma too, folks. I understand that, but you haven't experienced the humidity
We're
that
talking
happens in
humidity.
December.
That's right. It's not dry. We're talking wet.
We're talking the wall that's going to hit Cal for the first time, because I don't think they have anything when they come out here for the second game of the season. But oh man, I'm excited for that one. All right, finally to wrap up this part of our first half preview, and folks, it is by far, based on what we know right now, Auburn's toughest game on the schedule,
Yes.
based on what is currently known. The Georgia Bulldogs, the Deep South's oldest rival. We go to Athens. They are currently ranked number one. They will be coming off their major matchup with Alabama. They might have taken their first loss of the year. They might have just gotten a first humongous win for them, or maybe second. I don't know what their schedule is actually. But Auburn at Georgia. Look, folks, anything's possible. But I hope you guys will enjoy that 5-game homestand and what could potentially be a very nice start for Auburn. It's going to be rough. And I just made a Georgia joke there. That was really bad, and I didn't intend to
We're going to gloss over that.
gloss over that. But as a final point on this, how do you feel about them making us their homecoming opponent?
Oh yeah,
Just say it. Just
I'd
tell me how
forgot.
you feel.
I'd totally forgotten about that. It you can say it wasn't done on intentionally. It 1000% was. There's you can have your homecoming anytime during the year. I get it,
Yep.
and I totally understand it. I hope that we use it. I hope that we use that as a talking point. I think the real thing that intrigues me here is if Auburn has had a very successful August and September, that game could be a night game in Athens, which does not sound fun.
It's a
And I
college football fan fun, but for
absolutely
us,
not sound fun. But you know what? If Auburn's had the successful August and September like that, that means they're playing some really good football. And they get that night game, they're playing some good football. So we'll see. I think that it's going to be hard no matter what. That is
yeah,
we talked about the LSU um, drought for so long that I feel like that's the next one. That is one that is going to haunt us and has haunted us for close to 20 years now.
yeah.
And I would love to have that one finished, but we'll have to see. We'll
We
see
will
how things
see.
are
We will
going by
see.
then.
Plenty more discussion to be had about these games and the next ones upcoming in the second half when we do that next week. But for now, we wanted to give you a look ahead, not predictions, but just what to expect maybe for the first 6 games of the season. I want to talk about stuff in the preseason still, Austin, but we're gonna keep it off the field, right? We mentioned in potpourri about the practice a little bit. dive into our pre or reaction show of that if you want some more information, as we already said. But let's talk about the what we love to talk about here, the whole of the Auburn experience, the things that happened for the Auburn fan, specifically Auburn Fan Day. Now, most of you are probably like, now, Kyle, this isn't like the most big event of the year, but I think it's becoming more of a big deal as time goes on and people are realizing how much access they have to the players. And in that note, I'm expecting or I'm seeing more of the players get more involved with that. So what you're seeing on the screen for those of you watching the video live stream is a portion of our video that we put out from our experiences there. I attended, Austin was able to attend some of it as well. And so we just want to talk a little bit about that. But I encourage you to go to our YouTube channel. I believe it's also available on Facebook and watch the full video to get the full scope of, hey, what you missed out on. Or you might even see yourself there. I think we had someone in our chat even say they saw me yesterday. So you never know. Come to these events. You might get a chance to say hello to one of us. Mr. Scott, Fan Day, opening thoughts for you, how it went off, any things that you noticed.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought honestly, it's one of the first ones I've been to, and it was the first one my whole family went to for sure. I got to go during the on to victory portion a little bit and do some help them out a little bit, and got Brooks and Barrett got to come and run around all they wanted to do, and they definitely stole the show a little bit during that first hour. But I thought it was really neat. I had not been in a situation where the players had seen how they react to everything and
Yeah.
how amped up they are, and they were, they'd had a scrimmage that morning. Obviously you're expecting to be a little tired, but saw a lot of smiles, a lot of people
Yeah.
excited to see fans, thank them for coming. Thought it was really, really neat. I really like too that volleyball and soccer were a part of it.
Yeah.
They're getting underway before the football team gets underway, and
Yeah.
so they seemed really juiced. I heard a lot of people talking to the volleyball team, especially about how excited they are about their season. You've heard us talk plenty of times about how exciting that program is in the period they're in. But I thought it was really awesome. Love that it's indoors.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
that it's in
Gosh.
indoors
Yes.
and with AC. But I thought it was great. It felt very, not to get too sentimental, it felt very one of those cheesy Auburn family moments where everybody's just
Yep.
excited together.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's okay to be cheesy with these things because that's what this is about. It's about building community, but continuing to keep those family vibes going here. Now, it's called Fan Day, not Football Fan Day, but we understand that's what
Sure.
mainly people are coming for. But as you pointed out, it's a great event to come see a lot of other teams, entities that are going to be part of that Auburn experience. So, just as like a brief overview of what all you could have experienced there, there was the On to Victory event. Those of you that are part of that NIL program, that got to come in early. Which, in fact, Austin, I will say, I get the feeling that people have that aren't part of On to Victory have about people having access, but they did pay for it. Obviously, it's one of the perks of it.
Sure.
But I do think that it's helped the experience of this Fan Day event even more so because it's a big crowd no matter what for the general
Yes.
population. But as time has gone on in my several attendings of this, I have noticed that it doesn't feel as stressful. It doesn't feel as jam packed like
Yes.
in those segments that we know people are running to. Coach Hugh Freeze or whoever the head coach was at the time back in the day. We won't talk about those that were there at one point, that were potatoes and all that kind of stuff. Or to Obby is usually one of the longest
Yep.
lines. Or if there's a favorite player out there that everybody's the wide receivers, folks, the line went
It was long.
the line went through basically the head coach's line and then wrapped to the other side of the thing. And we sent out a video, excuse me, a picture and said, do you think people are excited about the wide receivers?
You can kind of see it right there in the back on this
Yes,
one.
that this is the offensive line that he has on there right now, and you'll see in just a minute coming up the wide receivers. But a lot of smiling faces, Austin. I mean,
Oh yeah.
just the fans. But like I said, kind of to start off with, yeah, I'm being cheesy here, and I know they have to do this, but I just felt there was with this particular team a sense of gratitude. What Coach Freeze has said a lot about their theme for this year: gratitude for what they get to do, gratitude for who they are, gratitude who you're associated, gratitude for your fans. There was just a lot of cutting up and stuff that was happening outside of them having to sit there and sign things for the whole time. At least I felt there was.
Yeah, no, I agree. It like you said, it's been the theme. Coach Freeze has labeled the year so far for sure. And it kind of felt like that's being emphasized already among the team. it, like you said, I'm sure there's a level of they have to be there, but it was cool for them, I think, to get to see the support, put faces with the support.
Right.
Lots of little ones that are always really cute and fun. I thought it was really great. I'm definitely with you on the, I think you and I figured out I left kind of right before you came in,
Yep.
but I noticed when they opened up the garage door for to let everyone in that had been standing in line because it got more full, but there were people phasing out as well. So I thought it was handled really well. I think Abbey Kids Club kids could come in like 15 minutes too, and that probably helped things.
Right.
I thought it was handled really well by everybody who attended, but also like you were saying, the players and Coach Freeze and the Auburn staff, they've nailed it down. So we already can't talk enough about Rhett Hobart, and I think his team probably
Yeah.
did a great job yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, literally, we do the show called The Auburn Experience, but he lives it every single day. He and his team of trying to
Truth.
create these experiences that are really great for fan experience, and this is one that I know falls under his purview and his staff, and they do a great job. Obviously, as we talked about, football players galore, all kinds of autographs you have a chance to get to meet them and stuff. Hugh Freeze, you mentioned the volleyball and the soccer teams are there, but you also got a pep rally too if you're there. And look, folks, I know you get to hear them at the events and stuff like that, but it doesn't feel like it's an Auburn athletics event without having your mic men there, the cheerleaders, sometimes the Tiger Paws. The only thing that was missing was the band, but they piped in the band, obviously, for the pep rally and things like that. So between band, Aubie, almost all, you know what? I'm a quick aside here. Why is our cross country team not at this game, at
Oh
this
boy.
event? I'm going to be a little bit honest here. I think
Oh
we're
boy.
we're we're lacking a little bit in that if we're going to have representation for all the fall sports, cross country,
Here
because
he
they are
goes.
an official team of the fall sport calendar, should be there. Am I wrong?
I'm going to defer you to the email addresses on the Auburn Athletics staff directory. You can take that up with them.
Well, I mean, I know there's reasons for that, and they're probably running somewhere right now,
That's
doing.
right. They were running.
They were
Kyle, did
running.
you get your picture with anyone? Did you get your picture with Aubie?
Folks, let me just tell you this. I have tried to step back as we've done this more and more from my fan side at these events because normally I would love to, and I try my best.
Not even with Aubie?
Not even, the line was so long.
Yeah, it was long.
I mean, I stayed till the very end, and they basically had to ask me to leave. But it's still a long line to go over there and see Aubie. But it seemed like everything was moving. I have no longer gotten the signed ball that I used to get every single
Oh
year.
yeah, that
I,
was that
I
was
know.
there. That's E2C of old.
That's
There's
like
some
legend.
there.
Le
It wasn't very good, legend.
what Okay, let me just a quick story. Every year I'd go to this preseason event or the A-Day experience, and
Or Ada. Yep.
I would get a signed Auburn football. Some of the ones on the wide shot here for me that you can see, probably up there, maybe a little bit out of the shot, but that I have in this room are from those events. Well, some of them, after I got their signatures, didn't have such great a seasons or had great injuries. So the running unfortunate joke is that whoever Kyle picks for the year is in for a rough time, and that kind of seemed to be true.
It's like being on the video game cover for a while.
Oh,
It was not a
yeah,
good thing if you were picked by Kyle to get your signature.
it was not a good thing.
These guys got a picture with Aubie.
Oh, that's so cute.
I think that's the Christmas card. I'm gonna try and get a Christmas
Oh,
push for that, but I don't think I'll win that. But I'm
if
gonna
there's
push
any,
for it.
that's got to be the Christmas card. We were just looking at a picture of Austin, his twin boys, and his lovely wife with.
And I mean, check that out.
It's like, oh, and the freeze.
Well, I mean,
Look at
look at
that.
that. That's two options for Christmas cards, if you ask me.
Why not both?
Why not?
Why not? Hey, listen, we didn't even think of that for recommendations for this. Think of this as your opportunity to get your family photo,
That's right.
for Christmas cards, for that summer or back to school card, if that's a thing. It's been a while since
Back to school card. No,
I don't
I don't
listen.
think so.
Some of these people these days, they'll come up with anything. So just think of it that way. Obviously, this was sponsored by Golden Flake. They had a team shop. They had Golden Flake for for however long it lasted there that you could grab. Obviously, they were promoting War Eagle Plus. And here's the final note of just kind of the event. And again, we encourage you guys to go check out the video just so you can see what you missed out on or find yourself and re-experience what that was. The one thing that I thought was the most smart thing that they did was take away the obstacle course, the bounce houses from
Yeah.
outside because nobody could stay out there and live. It's just
Oh,
too
yeah.
hot for that. But I will say, I think there's room still in there for them to do that inside, and maybe they'll do that at some point. I don't know. But all in all, what more could you ask for? Football players and signatures, your head coach, your pet rally. You've got Albie there. Everything that you could want. And of course, your Auburn family. So I will say, Austin, that it felt like Auburn Fan Day once again was here's a roaring success.
Oh, there you go. You made up for yourself. I agree. I thought it was a great day. And it's just another sign we're getting closer.
Yeah, and I like this. Well, we don't often reference our comments during the live stream, but this is a good one. Stan says more energy than the past few years, and I would agree with you that when we were talking about the vibes from the players and their gratitude, that I think is starting to come out from that, and not that people in the past haven't, but I think that's carrying over to the fans now and the energy. It's always cliche, the Auburn family, all that stuff. We get it. We know some of y'all roll the eye. Some of you Auburn fans roll your eyes at it, other fans roll your eyes at it. But I think this is one of those great opportunities to come together and get the whole Auburn experience, which we love to talk about here every single week, by the way. That's going to do it for episode 89 of the Auburn Experience podcast. We appreciate you guys tuning in with us to talk about so many great things. If you want to keep up with me, do so online at on X at Kyle Loomis 24. Where can they keep up with you?
Yeah, at Austin G. Scott, you can find me. There's plenty of pictures galore of the boys having a blast at Fan Day, so check them out.
Please do that, and make sure you check out all those things that we reference, videos, live streams from this past week, tons of content. If you're looking for something, we probably got it up there from one of our social media accounts or YouTube channel for you. Thanks for tuning in. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.
War Eagle.